Hey everybody, Coach Toolshed here, and today's video is going to be something that a lot of you requested in the comments section from yesterday's video, and coincidentally it is something that I was planning on covering anyway. It was going to be the topic of yesterday's video actually, but I thought that the Bethesda information was more important to get out yesterday. But today I'm going to go ahead and cover it, and what I'm going to be talking about today is the situation between the Epic Game Store on PC and Steam, and the situation where a couple of high-profile upcoming releases have now had exclusivity announced with the Epic Game Store, and Steam users and Valve themselves are not very happy with this situation. Now, it was just a couple of weeks ago when Ubisoft announced that The Division 2, which is coming out in March, was not going to be launching on Steam, that it was only going to be launching exclusively on the Epic Game Store, and of course, Uplay when it comes to playing on the PC. And this got people a little bit upset, but it was with news this week about Metro Exodus that we're really starting to see a lot more backlash. I think I've seen more people upset about the Metro Exodus thing than I saw people commenting about The Division 2. Now, it was just back in December when I did a video talking about the Epic Store and talking about how they had taken a few high-profile indie titles and made them exclusively, or at least timed exclusive, on the Epic Store. And the games like Hades, Ashen, Super Meat Boy Forever, these are games that have pretty good cachet among the indie scene, and these are games that Epic got locked down on their own storefront, and Steam users were not too happy about that as well. And at the time, I was wondering, is Epic going to really make a name for themselves by simply locking down these exclusivity deals? And I think we now have the answer. Because now, with making this deal with Ubisoft, and by the way, it should stand to mention that Ubisoft announced that there's going to be other games that they have that are going to be part of this deal. So The Division 2 is just the tip of the spear, as it were, and Ubisoft is going to be having these exclusive deals with the Epic Store for some time to come. Now, we don't know exact details about that, but rest assured, this is not the last time we're going to see this from Ubisoft. Now, the situation regarding Metro Exodus is a little bit more troubling to me because the announcement for that exclusivity deal just came down the line within the last couple days, and we're talking about a game with Metro Exodus that launches in just 15 days. So it doesn't really give users on Steam a whole lot of heads up to let them know, hey, this game isn't actually coming to Steam. Now, we do have the announcement that they're going to honor any pre-orders on the Epic Store. So what I mean is, if you have pre-ordered on Steam already, you are going to have access to the game on the Epic Store. However, this is not exactly an equal one-to-one scenario, because as many users will attest, and I've talked to several people about this, and you can go into comment threads and see all sorts of different postings on social media, because people are upset about this, because the fact of the matter is that Steam, for all its problems, and it has many, is at this point a superior platform to the Epic Game Store. And I know many people I've seen commenting say that they only play games if they're on Steam because of all the advantages that it provides. The quality of life, the extra features that it has, the fact that everything that they need to play the game and to access different community features is all there. Steam, like I said, it has many issues, but generally people want to use that platform above other random launchers on PC. You don't really hear too many people defending other game launchers. It's really just Steam that people like to use. So when Epic just comes barreling onto the scene, it's good to have competition, but it's not really competition when you're just shelling out some of that Fortnite money to try to lock down exclusivity deals. There's also the fact that you have to take into consideration that a lot of people just don't want to give their information to Tencent, which is an issue if you're going to be playing on the Epic Game Store and using that as a storefront, because Tencent, a Chinese-owned company, does have a sizable share in the value of Epic. So that is something that you cannot forget when you discuss this situation. Some people just don't want to have business dealings with Tencent, which is fair enough. Something else to take into consideration is that PC players are getting more and more upset all the time over the fact that all these different game companies, different game developers are trying to lock their games behind their own launchers, and people are frankly sick and tired of having to have all these different launchers installed on their computer, especially when we've seen cases like Bethesda, where some of the times these companies aren't exactly careful with the way they're treating your personal information. So can you blame people for not wanting to have all of these accounts registered for all these different companies constantly on their PC? It's not really that crazy to me. And you also have to take into account that many PC players have prided themselves for years on the fact that they don't have exclusives on PC. They have access to whatever games they want on PC, and now Epic is charging into the scene like a bull in a china shop, throwing around all this money, and they are upsetting that ecosystem that PC players have really coveted and prided themselves on for many years. You talk to people all the time, and that's one of the things. They will make fun of console players because they have to deal with the exclusivity problem. And one of the rallying cries for years of PC gamers is that they don't have to deal with that exclusivity issue. And now they do, because Epic has decided that that's what they're going to do. And I did some number crunching, and the way I see it, Epic has to have paid through the nose to Deep Silver and Koch Media to get them to go along with this plan, because we have gotten the announcement that Metro Exodus is going to be for sale for $50 on the Epic Store, when it was previously on sale for $60 on the Steam Store. So they're trying to spin this as, hey, we're going to the Epic Store. As I've discussed in a previous video, the Epic Store takes a much lower cut of the proceeds than Steam does. Steam takes a 30% cut, where it's only a 12% cut that Epic takes. So this does work out well for the developer and for the publisher. But what's going on here is that Metro has actually lowered its price on the Epic Store. And just doing some quick math, say for the sake of argument, it would have sold the same amount of copies in each storefront. Say it would have sold 2 million copies on Steam and 2 million copies in the Epic Store. Well, if you factor in the lower price point of $50 on the Epic Store, and you also factor in the difference in the cut that the platform holder takes, well, Metro would have raked in only an additional $4 million, which is a relatively insignificant amount of benefit that you would get compared to the fact that the game in reality is going to sell far less copies being locked on just the Epic Store, when it could have been on Steam selling far more copies. So this does not benefit the publisher from this perspective at all, especially when you factor in as well the negative public relations that they've gotten. They've gotten a lot of people that were going to buy the game on Steam are very upset, even though they still will have a copy available for them on the Epic Store. A lot of people just don't want to use that service, and so they're rightly upset. They don't want to be on that platform, period. And it's not really fair for the publisher to make this sort of deal and then at the last minute pull the rug out from people, because this is last minute. You're within 2 weeks from the launch almost, and you're making this sort of announcement certainly within 3 weeks of launch. That's not acceptable by any stretch of the imagination, and it's really too bad, because this is one of the few games this year that I was really looking forward to. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to buy it, because I was probably going to buy it on console anyway, so this doesn't really affect me personally, because I probably was not going to buy it on PC to begin with. However, this does sort of dampen things for me to see a publisher, and even a small-time publisher like Deep Silver. They're not really one of these massive publishers that we talk about. I don't like to see them making this sort of decision, which is purely financial and does not benefit the consumer in any way. Now, they have obviously, like I said, tried to spin it by saying, hey, there's a $50 price point. It's technically cheaper for the consumer, yada, yada, yada. And that is not a terrible point. But the fact of the matter is, PC players, a lot of them just, they want to play on Steam, period. And the fact that you would pull the rug out from under people right now, I do not care for that move whatsoever. And obviously, it's clear that Epic just wants to throw around as much cash as possible to make these exclusivity deals, because, as I just pointed out, this doesn't benefit Deep Silver or Metro Exodus in any way. They're not going to sell as many copies. They're not going to get as much revenue from the sale of the game by not having it on Steam. Now, it's coming to Steam in a year. Whoop-de-doo. You know, people don't want to wait a year to play it. Look how that killed the sales of Rise of the Tomb Raider when they tried that crap on Xbox. It did not bode well, and then the game didn't really sell on PS4 either, because the game had already been out for a year. The buzz was totally gone. These timed exclusivity deals don't pay off. unless we're all wrong and these platform holders are shelling out $100 million to have these games locked down on their platform, which it doesn't seem realistic. I don't know what sort of dollar figure they would have to throw at some of these publishers to make it worthwhile, but it would have to be pretty sizable. Of course, we'll never really know. But anyway, that's just my quick thoughts on this. I just wanted to throw this out there because a lot of you guys asked me about it. Now, as I've said in previous videos, I am not a huge PC gamer. I have a PC. It is a gaming PC. I just don't really use it that much. I just prefer a console. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a console pleb. Sorry, guys. But anyway, that's my thoughts on this matter. I'm Coach Toolshed. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. As always, when I discuss stuff involving the PC specifically, I really like to get some feedback from the PC gamers because that is something that is a blind spot for me, really. I don't know too much about gaming on the PC. I rarely ever use the thing to game on. I usually just use it for editing. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you want to stay in tune with the channel headed forward, and as always, keep it turned to 11.